Welcome to PrinnyCast Roundtable for August 17th, 2013. We're a casual weekly show where we talk about what we've been up to and all the various gaming-related stuff over the last week. We're your hosts, Chris. This is Mike.
Hello.
This is Grover.
Hello.
In the background this week, you'll see more Kickstarter projects. Check out the links below if you're curious about any of them and want to help any of them. I think they're all up to date once again. Speaking of which, for those interested in Project Phoenix we talked about last week, it's made its second stretch goal already and working for its next, which will include a big explorable city and customizable characters. But yes, it is funded, so that's cool. Going to start us off nowadays with the bundle deals. For various reasons that should be pretty apparent these days, being as sometimes these bundles are what we've been playing over the course of the week. So
we love ourselves some Humble Bundles.
Well, heck we do. And they did it again, too. But yeah, 2 new Humble Bundles with the Origin Bundle. It's absolutely packed with AAA titles, including Dead Space 3, Mirror's Edge, Medal of Honor from 2009, not the original, Burnout Paradise, the Ultimate Box, Crysis 2 Maximum Edition, and if you pay over the average, you get Sims 3, the Starter Pack, and Battlefield 3. The bad news is, this is an Origin package, so all of the games are based largely for Origin. The good news is, you also get Steam versions of everything aside from Dead Space 3, Battlefield 3, and Sims 3. And if indie games are more your speed, YouTube's scaredy cat gamer phenomenon PewDiePie has chosen this week's weekly bundle that includes McPixel, Thomas Was Alone, Botanicula, and the fairly new Showdown Effect with Amnesia: The Dark Descent if you pay over the average. And last I checked, it's a really super cheap bundle at about $2.50 or so. And I also want to point out toward CheapShark.com. It's a website that keeps track of a lot of game sites like Steam and Green Man Gaming and Amazon.com and Gamersgate, GOG.com, Origin, Gamefly, GameStop, and Get Games, and it tells you all of the latest deals from all of these sites. So go check them out next time you're shopping for those cheapest prices.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I just found that out recently too. So what have we been playing this week, Mike?
Just mainly the usual. I played a couple of the games that I got recently, as Kerbal Space Program being one of them. Not really a whole lot to mention there, so instead, we're going to talk about something I got in the mail. I mentioned some time ago that I was going to have to get my 25th anniversary Mega Man light-up statue replaced. And there's not really a direct way to communicate with Capcom. You have to go through their stupid website. And after fighting with it for a couple of weeks before finally getting it to work, I shot them over an email and they sent me a replacement, and I got that this week. It works. It works. Some of the lights on it are more of a hot pink than a red, but whatever. But aside from the statue, I got a bunch of stuff that I was not expecting. They sent me codes for both Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. Street Fighter 25th Anniversary bundle codes. The extra stuff, like all of the extra games like Street Fighter 2 HD and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. And the extra costumes, which I already had this. But, it's kind of nice. I had accidentally put it on the wrong account the first time, so I was able to put it on the right one this time. And I gave Chris the Xbox one.
Yeah, I'm acting like I don't know anything about the news, but here I am showing the picture already. Look at all that stuff. Loot.
They sent me a lanyard. They sent me the put-together arcade cabinet that came with the original collector's edition of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. And they sent me the soundtrack CDs from the 25th anniversary Street Fighter collection as well, which there are 11 of them. And I got a couple of badges. One that says USS, and it looks like the umbrella symbol. And then the other one is a Spec Ops Field Unit badge, which you can see in the picture. Also, I got Resident Evil Anthology codes, which unlock Resident Evil Director's Cut, and it's basically all of the Resident Evils except for 6. It came with Resident Evil 6, but I did not buy that game, so this was actually useful for me. The Xbox One unlocks different stuff, though, because the Resident Evil classic games, most of those are only PlayStation Network. Mm-hmm. So with the Xbox One, what they gave you was Code Veronica, Resident Evil 4 HD, and Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition. So I gave a couple of those to Chris, and I kept the Code Veronica.
Yeah, sadly, my hard drive was one of those 12 gig ones, and the operating system takes up a good chunk of that. So I got the 2 Street Fighter games and Resident Evil 5 pretty much on there. Resident Evil 5 is going to take a while to download, but RE4 is not going to fit on there. I ran out of room.
An awful lot of extra stuff that I was not expecting, so it was really cool to get it. And I'll give major props to Capcom that even though I hate their customer service website, their actual customer service in this case was above and beyond what I expected.
Yeah, way above and beyond.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy if you start tallying up how much that stuff would cost individually.
Oh yeah. So major props to Capcom for that. I'm going to be playing Code Veronica probably pretty soon. So what about you guys? What have you been playing?
I've been playing, I've continued my Civilization 5. I have now beat Immortal on Diplomacy, and I'm trying to beat it in other ways. But I got slightly distracted Friday when Final Fantasy 14 came out. It's beta, the Phase 4, and I don't have much to say about that because I didn't play it a whole lot. There's a couple differences, but I honestly don't want to get addicted to it because it will be ending at Monday morning at 4 a.m. So it's just kind of like, it's not enough time for me to play the character, get into it, and then lose them again. So even though I'm keeping my character, you get to keep your character this time. I'm just like, when the early release begins and I can get back in, I'll start playing, then, get completely cracked out on it and not do anything else for a little while. I also played some more King's Bounty, and that game can get really hard really fast. And like Chris said one time when I was streaming, F5 is your best friend in that game. Save every single second. If you think even for a second you're going to lose, save, because there is no, would you like to continue back to wherever you were? No, you're dead. It's over. Game over now. You're dead.
And some of those battles, it's just like the old school RPGs. They don't give you warning if you're going into something you're not ready for.
Yep.
Just bam, you're in it.
You could be in an area where there's like 3 easy fights, and then you go to the 4th fight, and it's the Doom fight. You have ran into the wizard and Dungeons and Dragons that wipe you out kind of fight. Then I played Papers, Please, and I didn't like that game very much because I have dyslexia, and checking discrepancies and stuff on those papers is a nightmare for me.
And you
I was just like,
quickly too.
I quickly went insane. I was just like, no, I can't do this game. The game is good. It's just, if you have some kind of issue where like dyslexia and stuff, that game is going to make your life hell. So, if you have dyslexia, stay the hell away from Papers, Please, unless you hate your life, or you want a major challenge. Dyslexia puts it on hard mode immediately for you. But then I played Sims 3, and that's because of the Humble Bundle, the Origin one. And I have to be careful with Sims 3, because I've said it before, I can be extremely cracked out on Sims. Sims 2, I have thousands of hours in. I think I have at least 500 hours in Sims 3 already, since when it came out in 2010.
I remember one of the reasons how I ended up with my old copy of Sims 3 is one year you got too involved with it, and instead of smashing it, you mailed it to me.
Yep, instead of smashing it, I sent another copy to you because I was like, I'm so addicted, I'm going to send it to other people and get them addicted too.
Well, it was as much trying to get it away from yourself.
Yeah, back when I used to destroy stuff, I just tried to destroy it and then rebuy it. They made so much, game companies made so much money off of me from that. SimCity 4, I think I bought at least 20 times. At least. And on another note, I played some SimCity this week, and why? I have no clue. I was installing Sims 3, and while I was waiting for Sims 3 to install, I decided, what the hell, I'll play some SimCity to pass the time. And it seems not much different, but it seems a little better. I don't know, maybe it's just, it looks like they made it so industry actually matters. You have to have industry or your commercial starts falling apart, it looks like. But a lot of the things that pissed me off still exist, and so I didn't play it for very long, maybe like 2 hours, and I got a small city going, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm done with this shit, and that was that. And that's it. That's all. Well, that's a lot this week. A ton of games.
Yeah, it sounds like we've all been kind of busy with our gaming. I got in a tiny bit of Awesome Knots, a little bit of Counter-Strike, some more King's Bounty, The Legend. I started Sam & Max, The Devil's Playhouse, like I said I was going to, since Back to the Future is now beat. Started up some Skyrim again, some of that Castle Crasher-inspired Sacred Citadel. Been playing quite a bit of that. I've almost got my Archer to the final level now. And a lot of other games are downloading, so when everything is like 2 to 15 gigs, and there's as many of them as I've gotten recently, that takes a while. So yeah, plus, Resident Evil 5 on the Xbox when I finally get that going again. So I'm drowning myself in great games.
It takes weeks to download.
Plus, there's been some other little minor goodies. Like I tried out the 2 Street Fighters, and they have ramped up the difficulty from like the Dreamcast and the Super Nintendo versions of those games. So
have they?
That and the fact that the 360 controller is not made for fighting games, so you put the 2 together.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys were reading stuff that I was doing before I was doing it because they were programmed. This is how people play, so you counter them this way. But I also noticed, especially on I think it was Third Strike, if you just start acting stupid and pressing toward them, they'll stop attacking you. So the AI kind of learns from how you're doing. If it sees that you're really good at the game, it gets really tough. If it sees that you're doing poorly, it'll start taking it easy on you, which is weird.
Oh god, you can exploit that so badly when you have the AI.
I don't know. It seems to know the second that you switch back over, okay, now I'm going to take you out. It seems to know.
So can you manually change the difficulty?
Yeah, it's still got easy through very hard, I think. And Super HD has the old star system from the Super Nintendo and Genesis versions, so...
Well, that makes no sense.
I don't know.
Cheating AIs.
Yes, cheating AIs. They're everywhere! Yeah, I got those Humble Bundles. Well, I got the Origin one. Boy, this is going to be a long cast this time, because there's still stuff to say. But the first one I got downloaded was Medal of Honor, largely because I have not played a new first-person shooter in quite a long time. And I got met with this little image. Okay, EA, I'm not on a Japanese computer. I do use AppLocale, but I would think, considering all the things in the universe, especially AppLocale being a Microsoft product, that you would understand the difference between those. It took me forever to Google why this was happening exactly, because I kind of had a feeling I knew what was going on, so I knew what to look for, but I still had to go to the very corners of the internet to find it, and it was through Red Alert 3 for Command & Conquer before I finally found the answer to this. But, yeah, AppLocale, EA doesn't know how to deal with it. So for the last, how old? 15 years? They'll just keep the game from installing as long as AppLocale is on your system. And AppLocale is a system that allows Japanese games with their unusual font types to run on your computer without issues. And I play Dojin games, like those fighting games, because I collect those suckers. So their little slashes that we use to separate files and folders, they don't use those. They use this little Y with lines in it. I should know what that's called by now. I've had it for long enough, but I have AppLocale to fool the system into allowing me to use both versions. So whatever I'm installing won't have problems, except for EA. Oh, yeah, apparently this is a very common problem for them. Yeah, I finally found out how to do it. You just use one of those unlock programs to keep AppLocale from being blocked out by the system, and it ran just fine. I only had to do it the one time for it to install properly, and once all that was done, it ran just fine. I've got about 4 or 5 hours that I spent overnight and this morning on it, so... Ooh, it's full of glitches. Medal of Honor is just full of glitches. Anyway, but moving right along, that is not the end of my fantastic deals. My mom found another one of those yard sales. And by those yard sales, I mean one of those. For $25, I have now a third PlayStation 2, one good controller, 2 bad ones that came with it, a Guitar Hero game with the Guitar Hero guitar, the Dancing with the Stars game with the Dancing with the Stars pad. So already we're talking like $60 used. And what is it, like 10 other games on top of that, all PlayStation 2? Now, one of them had a second copy of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas inside, so I actually have 2 of those. One of them's really scuffed up. Now, some people were going, wait, haven't you been talking about San Andreas? Don't you own that? Yes, I do. But about 6 or 7 years ago, my nephew borrowed it, and I haven't seen it since then. So I've been
You're
looking
never going to see it again.
I was looking for a good deal to just, let him keep it. I don't care. But it's been hard to find it for even used for under $20. So finally got it back. And then all these other games, I got a second copy of Gun and a second copy of Burnout 3, which was actually in the system. I don't know if they meant to sell that or not. And it was awesome. $25 for all this stuff. I basically paid 75 cents a piece for some of these games. Now, we're talking like Let's Ride horse racing and budget racing games and stuff like that, but also got Jackass the Game.
How is that different than the budget games?
Exactly.
I remember that game.
And then, now I was surprised to see the Harvest Moon game in there. That goes for a pretty high price even now because it's kind of limited.
Oh, it was the first one? You know what, I actually played that game, and you know what I hate about that one? How the hell do you beat the Ice Queen that's in that game? We never got past that part. We thought of everything, we couldn't kill that bitch. It's impossible.
I was kind of tilting my head. I was testing them out to make sure that they all worked, and for a long time, I was not sure if the main character was a girl or a guy. Between the ponytail and the kind of cutesy face and the pink gloves and the pink scarf, I wasn't totally sure he wasn't a she. But yeah, okay. They confirm that when you meet the little sprites at the first of the game. But yeah, I rambled on too. But there was one more thing I wanted to mention, and that is Telltale Games is working on a new one of their adventure titles using pretty much the same engine they made Walking Dead with. It's called Wolf Among Us, based on the Fables comic book. And I'm a huge, we'll call it Season 1 Fables fan. I have not read the later ones. I heard they got really stupid, really awful, really inane. But yeah, I'm kind of glad to hear this. Fables could do...
Fable?
Fables. The comic
Fable from Xbox?
No, the comic book.
Oh, okay.
It was before all the TV shows and the movies and everything got into this, let's reboot all these fairy tales and modern day stuff that's been happening for about the last 8 years. These guys did it a long time before that. I know it's been going on for decades anyway. But this is one that kind of... I think inspired a lot of the others, whether they'll admit it or not. And it's kind of cool seeing the big bad wolf playing a sheriff who's trying to do the right thing, even though he is once upon a time a bad guy. Once upon a time. See what I did there? But anyway, other announcements included, yes, we have actually started deleting some of the videos. At the moment, only 3 of them have gone down, with the exception of the Sims one, and I'll tell everybody why. Usually, when they let something go, they'll say the claim is released. There is nothing anywhere on the record of this video anymore, so I'm not even sure they can touch it if they wanted to. It's like it's been wiped absolutely clean. There's no claims whatsoever on the video anymore. So,
which one?
The Sims one. It's the one that EA flagged us for using the Sims intro while I was speaking Simlish.
Eastasia has always been a war with Oceania.
Yeah, it was like back in April or something like that. So
yeah,
and I think I need to say something else here, simply because it's kind of been proven by this particular episode that Mike and Grover are awesome dudes. I mean,
oh really? I do.
Just on the show alone, just how many games have you guys given me?
Oh, I like to throw games at people. They're fun.
I mean, it's just the show, with Mike giving me the 2 Resident Evils and the 2 Street Fighters, and then Grover giving me Sims 3 and Skyrim, and that's just the stuff we mentioned here. So yeah.
And he threw me Sims 3 back.
Yeah, I try to give you guys stuff back, but my philanthropy is bigger than my wallet.
I decided, I know, I'm going to take $60 and throw it at Chris. Sounds like a fantastic idea. Let's do this now.
No, that's not. You guys have done enough this year.
Oh.
So follow us on Twitter at PrinnyCast, and you can contact us via email at prinnycast@gmail.com. You can find the rest of the links to YouTube and Twitch channels and all that stuff down below. I think that'll do us.
It'll do us.
That'll do it.
That'll
do, Pig. Yep. So we'll see you all next week.
Goodbye.
See you next.